Daisy Bates, or Daisy Gadsden, was a civil rights activist and was born in a town called Huddock in Arkansas on November 11th of 1914, which was about 150 miles to Little Rock, Arkansas, where she moved in 1941 with her future husband, Lucius Christopher Bates. She lived in Little Rock for most of her life from age 27 to 84, where she died on November 4th of 1999. Most of her accomplishments were done in Little Rock, where her original purpose in moving there was to start the Arkansas State Press with her husband, a weekly statewide newspaper devoted to advocating the social and economic improvements for the black residents of the state. Her newspaper covered many topics for the intention of spreading awareness and advocating for the rights of African Americans, such as documenting the achievements and struggles in the black community, despite the backlash of white business owners who ceased placing advertisements in their paper. Her and Elsie Bates' newspaper became one of the most unique among the other black newspapers and had a significant impact on the fight for equality of African Americans in Arkansas. While continuing her goals for the newspaper, she also joined the group called the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1942, where she became president in 1952. As president, she played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement and helping the fight for desegregation, and most especially changed the lives of those who lived in Arkansas. In 1957, under the name Bates, the NAACP decided to sue the Little Rock School Board in the effort to end school segregation as quickly as possible after the U.S. Supreme Court deemed segregation unconstitutional. As such, she recruited the 9 students in consideration of their good grades, maturity, and emotional resilience who would be the first to integrate into the all-white Central High School and would be known as the Little Rock Nine. Daisy Bates took a personal role in ensuring the safety of the students as they made their journey to the high school. She drove the students to school herself and set her home as the meeting place for the Little Rock Nine before they began their journey. Daisy Bates and the students received much backlash, including violent threats and rallies, but eventually her cause received national attention and was supported by President D. Eisenhower, who ordered all Arkansas's National Guard units and 1,000 paratroopers to enforce integration of the school. Daisy Bates and the students were finally escorted safely into the school on September 25th of 1957. Even after the students adjusted to the new school, she continued advocating for the students and the civil rights movement. In 1950, she and her husband were forced to close their newspaper after difficulties financially due to the low advertising revenue and the many threats and ongoing harassment they received from segregatists. This included several rocks that were thrown into her home and bullet shells she received in the mail. However, this didn't stop her from striving for equality as she continued her efforts through her autobiography, The Long Shadow of Little Rock, in 1962. In the ensuing years, she worked for the Democratic National Committee's voter education drive and for President Lyndon B. Johnson's anti-poverty programs in Washington, D.C. Later, in 1984, Daisy Bates revived the Arkansas State Press, but sold it several years later. Despite all the obstacles and struggles she faced, Daisy Bates received numerous honors for achievement in the integration of Little Rock Nine, and is greatly admired for the persistence in her involvement in the civil rights movement.